Hey, what's going on, everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another standard deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about budget mono white cats. I am very excited to share this very spicy list with you that is full of cats from Magic Foundations. As always, at the end of the video, let me know in the comment section below, is there a specific cat or card I should have put in this deck, or do you have any suggestions for upcoming videos? Just let me know in the comment section. And before we hop into the video here, I have to mention that we are currently on the road to 1,000 subscribers here on the channel, and we're going to be doing a huge giveaway once we get there. So if you want to be part of the giveaway and you want to know as soon as the giveaway is starting, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, so that way, again, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, you'll be instantly notified once we hit that threshold here. And we are getting very close, so go ahead and subscribe if you are not currently subscribed to the channel. So let's go and hop into the meat of the video here. So the inspiration behind mono white cats, which obviously there was a lot of different cats that came out in Magic Foundations, it's this card, Claws Out. It's 5 mana to give our creatures +2/+2 until end of turn, but it costs 1 less to cast for each cat we control. So if we have 3 cats, it's +2/+2 until end of turn for only 2 mana to our entire board, which is super strong. There's a lot of really good uncommons I love in Magic Foundations, and Claws Out is definitely no exception to that. And I wanted to build a budget cat deck for Standard. I know I built a Selesnya cat deck for Pioneer a while ago, but the cool thing about this deck is pretty much every card is from Magic Foundations. So if you decide you want to build this deck, unless a new cat comes out later on in Standard that you want to buy for this deck, you can pretty much play this cat deck for quite some time, and it'll definitely be very strong, especially for a budget deck. So let's go and hop into the rest of the cards here. So as our early drops, we were playing 4 copies of Leonin Vanguard, 4 copies of Savannah Lions, and 4 copies of Ajani's Pridemate. Leonin Vanguard and Ajani's Pridemate are a match made in heaven, just because once we play a handful of cats, we gain life before combat, which makes Ajani's Pridemate, you know, be able to get a +1/+1 counter, which is definitely very strong. Savannah Lions is also really strong. It's a 2-1 for 1 for this deck, which honestly is pretty good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a vanilla 2-1. It's, you know, what? Why are we even playing this? No, it's pretty good in this deck, I promise you. Cats has been eating a 2-1 for 1 for quite some time in Pioneer or in Standard, and this card will definitely help with that. Next side here, we have some more of our other strong 2-drops, as well as our Lord that we're playing in this deck. We're playing 2 copies of Dawnwing Marshal. I really like this card. 2/2 for 2 flyer is already a pretty good rate. And then we have a nice Anthem effect there for 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, which is just really strong. Spoiler alert, we are playing 24 lands in this deck, and you know, because we have a 5-drop that we want to play, as well as some additional abilities. So that's why we're playing 24 lands. So realistically, we're going to activate Dawnwing Marshal in this deck. It's not going to be hard, and that's why I'm playing 2 copies of that. We're also playing 4 copies of Sky Knight Squire. This card is super strong. I play it in the Pioneer list as a 4 of, and I'm playing in this deck as a 4 of as well. We have a whole bunch of different cat cards that we'll kind of see here in a second, obviously in addition to Arabo, where Sky Knight Squire is going to get 3 1/1 counters on it and gain flying. It's super strong in this deck. So huge fan of Sky Knight Squire. The card is absolutely busted. Huge fan of it in this deck. And then we're also playing 4 copies of Arabo the First Fang. Other cats get +1/+1. Whenever it or another non-token cat enters, we make another 1/1 white cat creature token. So at least if we go Sky Knight Squire and then play Arabo, that's 2 cats, so it's getting 2 +1/+1 counters, and then it's also getting +1/+1, so it becomes a 4/4 just with turn 2 Sky Knight Squire, turn 3 Arabo, and then next turn we play maybe another cat. Boom, Sky Knight Squire gets another 1/1 counter. And then obviously the trigger with Arabo happens, it gets another +1/+1 counter, and at that point, it's a big flying bad guy. So huge fan of Sky Knight Squire and Arabo in this deck. I think Arabo is secretly probably the best card in this entire deck, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, and then the last side we have to talk about in terms of main board cards, we're playing 2 copies of Jazal Goldmane. So I really like Jazal Goldmane. For those who don't know, it's a reprint from, obviously, Magic Foundations, but originally was actually in the Commander, I believe, 2014. This is the first time that it's ever been legal in Standard, which is kind of cool. I used to play in a lot of my cat decks back in the day in Commander, and I really do like it in this deck. 4/4 for 4 with First Strike, and then for 3 white, attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So Similar to Dongwing Marshall, we're going to be having a lot of extra mana laying around once we curve out all of our cats, so being able to activate Giselle Goldmane is going to be fantastic. I mean, especially with Regal Caracal, spoiler alert, giving all of our cats lifelink and having this ability is going to be super strong. So definitely huge fan of Giselle Goldmane in this deck. And then speaking of Regal Caracal, we're playing 4 copies of it. It's a reprint from Amonkhet, and it is in standard for 5 years, which is great for the cat deck. 3/3 for 5 other cats you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. When this creature enters, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink, which once again works really, really well with Sky Knight Square. In a weird way, if we go Sky Knight Square and then we play Regal Caracal on like a later turn, like, you know, obviously not curving out per se, it triggers Sky Knight Square all by itself because the Regal Caracal enters, and then we get 2 1/1 cats, so it'll just by itself be a 4/4, but it'll get +1/+1 and lifelink from the Regal Caracal. So overall, really, really good. This deck synergizes extremely well for a budget deck, and I'm really, really happy to play all these cats in this deck. And then rounding out our deck, we're playing, you know, some removal for Ossifications. It's very, very good. It's 25-cent card, gets rid of creatures or planeswalkers, which is super strong. So definitely huge fan of the Ossification in the deck. So the last thing we have to talk about in terms of main board is the lands, which are land base is super simple. We're playing 4 copies of Soulstone Sanctuary and 20 basic planes. So Soulstone Sanctuary, when I actually built this deck, it was a little bit cheaper in terms of overall, you know, US dollars cost to be able to purchase these, but I decided I still wanted to keep it in the deck because it's very good. Because for 4 mana, this land becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types. So obviously it becomes a cap. So that's why I decided to go ahead and keep it in the deck. It's very, very good. Not 100% necessary for the deck, but it is still a very, very good land that once again is going to be legal in standard for 5 years. So maybe if cats or other good creature types start getting a boost, Soulstone Sanctuary is going to be a huge part of that. So that's why I'm playing 4 copies of that. And as our spicy basic land of the day, this basic land works for 2 reasons, because 1, we have a Johnny on there. A Johnny's a cat, which kind of fits the flavor of the deck, but also our entire deck is pretty much just Magic Foundations cards, so we're also playing the nice full art basic planes from Magic Foundations. So it also works just 2 different ways. I'm also just a huge fan of this artwork. Sam Burley, fantastic artist in Magic, and this card is definitely no exception to that. So don't go anywhere yet though. We still have to talk about our sideboard as well as some upgrade options for the deck. So sideboarding is going to be relatively simple. Play a few copies of Elspeth Smite. The card is just really, really strong. It's good against all the red, you know, Manifold Mouse, but like Heartfire Hero, red decks. It's just really good against those decks. Rest in Peace is also fantastic. There's a lot of Reanimator decks going around in standard right now. I feel like you kind of run into Reanimator more on Arena than you do in paper, but, you know, Rest in Peace, it's like a 50-cent card. It's really, really good. Go ahead and put a few of those in your sideboard. Surge of Salvation is pretty much in here for one reason. It helps stop cards like Pyroclasm and Slagstorm and Brotherhood's End. People are playing those cards in their sideboard, and we want to protect our cats against those cards. So that's why we're playing Surge of Salvation. We're playing a few copies of Exorcise. I'm sorry, I think that's how that's pronounced. No, it's not Exorcise, but Exorcise. The card's really good, being able to exile an artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater, I believe is what it is. I can't remember, but I know the card is really, really good in the deck. Then we're also playing a few copies of Ajani Caller of the Pride. We'll kind of talk about the upgraded version of it in a second here, but I really do like it in the sideboard. It's just a really, really nice card. So, and it also, again, fits the theme of the deck because Ajani, after all, is a cat. The card itself isn't a cat, but Ajani, as a character, is a cat. So it just kind of fits the entire theme of the deck here. And then the last thing we have to talk about is the upgrade options for the deck, which is pretty simple. Add some Cavern of Souls. If you have a few Cavern of Souls laying around that you open in some packs, go ahead and throw them in the deck. Again, there's not a lot of like counter spells going around in standard right now, but the one time you think, oh, my Cavern of Souls is not going to matter, you're going to play against blue-white control, and they're just going to no more lies all of your cats, and it's going to stink. But again, not 100% necessary for the deck. I would also add Sheltered by Ghosts. The card is so strong in standard. It also works really, really well with a Johnny's Pridemate. For instance, putting it on a Johnny's Pridemate, it itself gets lifelink, deals the damage, which is just going to get bigger because it'll get more counters and whatever. It's just really, really good. If you have some Sheltered by Ghosts, I definitely would put him in this deck over Ossification. But As it's currently constructed right now, the current list is only $42 US, which is super cheap for a fun standard deck. The upgraded list is $239 currently, but again, that's with the Cavern of Souls and the Sheltered by Ghosts, as well as a few other upgrades like Archangel Elspeth over a Johnny Caller of the Pride. But overall, $239 really isn't too bad for a standard deck overall, but you know, you could kind of put that cost into, you know, something that's a little bit more established if you're interested in spending that much money. But for only 42 US dollars, having a fun cat standard deck is just really, really cool. So let me know in the comment section below if you have a cat deck for standard, or if you have it in another format, or if you're interested in building this list. Just let me know in the comment section below, especially if you have some differing opinions on some cards in the deck. So that takes us to the end of the video here. Thanks so much for watching. The deck lists are in the description below if you'd like to check them out for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. You won't want to miss it when we get to 1,000 subscribers. Huge shout out to our channel members, Ralph, Matt, Arcadius, Ray, Gary, Sir Wanoki, and Night Red 3. If you were interested in being a channel member, it's only $1 US a month, and you get access to the exclusive Commander Crane Discord, as well as other features here on the channel. So I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.